I'm in Doris Day's living room in her beautiful home in Carmel by the Sea, and I'm excited to tell you that Julien's Auctions are presenting the estate of Doris Day in April 2020, and we're in for a real treat to have a sneak preview into Doris Day's beautiful home, all the beautiful things she lived with. This is a truly exciting event. This is an amazing home where Doris Day spent the last 30 years of her life. It's 11 acres, beautiful property overlooking a golf course, and I know she's still beloved. Sadly, she's no longer with us, but we have all the memories, we have the movies, we have the music, and we have her items. And as I will walk through the house, we'll take a trip down memory lane. We see all the amazing things she lived with, what was important to her, and you can really realize why she moved from Beverly Hills to spend her latter years of her life here in Carmel by the Sea. And I'm walking through the front door of Doris Day's beautiful home. The first thing I read is the mat. If our dog doesn't like you, neither will we. But this is amazing. It's a wraparound foyer with so much natural light. You feel that you're really in touch with nature, overlooking the golf course, the amazing shrubbery, all of the glass. And she had so many fun, happy items along the way. As you can see here, all of these items will be, of course, in the auction. You know, Doris, she made a lovely home for herself. She lived extremely comfortably and with beautiful items around her. I am standing at Doris Day's dining room table, and please don't eat the daisies. She loved daisies. But look at this beautiful table setting, the Waterford crystal, the German porcelain, this flatware that was gifted to her from her mom. Truly amazing. And you think about Doris Day sitting at this table entertaining the celebrities, the stories, the history. Doris Day was a style icon. In fact, she won a fashion award for her style. American ladies used to follow whatever Doris Day was wearing. That same fashion sense was reflected in her homes, and in fact, Architectural Digest did a whole issue on her home in Beverly Hills before she moved up here back to the 1950s. When you think of Doris Day, so many movies, so many albums, her own TV show, of course. People are expecting items from her career as well as her life, and of course we have 4 Golden Globes going on the auction block presented to Doris Day over the years for her amazing movies. There's amazing artworks in this auction, and one of my favorite pieces is this portrait of Doris Day hung in her home in Beverly Hills in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and of course then she came here to Carmel by the Sea in the 1980s. There's so many great items in this auction, and you know, when you think about Doris Day's show, she used to design her own sets for the show because she wanted to give it that homely feeling. And when the show was finished after so many episodes, she took quite a lot of the furniture from the actual set that's here in the house, that will be in the auction block. And right here behind me, look what I found in the corner are these 35mm cans of all of her movies. And these too are in the auction on April 4th at Julien's Auctions. Anything from Doris Day's home will be sought after in the auction, firstly because they're so amazing, and secondly because all of the proceeds will benefit her animal foundation, and everybody knows how she loved for her animals, and that was so important to Doris during her lifetime, and her legacy continues. The auction will take place on April 4th in Beverly Hills. We're welcoming everyone to come and celebrate an amazing life and career. And if you can't be in Beverly Hills at Julien's Auctions, you can go to julienslife.com. You'll be able to see and hear the auctioneer, click the buttons, bid, and take home something from our beautiful Doris Day. And of course, we will be producing an amazing catalogue documenting all of these great pieces. Here I am, I'm in Carmel by the Sea, a beautiful home owned by Doris Day. Doris Day was sort of the all-American beloved actress, style icon. She represented true Americana. She always shined brightly through her movies, through the Doris Day show, to her numerous albums, that great music she gave us. And you know, we are so honored to be sitting in Doris Day's home to present to the whole world the estate of Doris Day, because Doris was a very private person. Sadly, she passed away, and here we are presenting to the world who she was, how she lived. If you knew nothing about Doris Day and you walked into this home, you'd say, clearly this is a person that loved animals. You see butterflies, you see dogs, there's elephants, there's giraffes. every animal is represented here, either through artwork, through dishes, through photographs. It's just a beautiful example of how she treasured her animals. And the great thing about this auction is 100% of the proceeds will go to benefit Doris Day's Animal Foundation. She said she never met an animal that she never liked. And that's truly reflected throughout her beautiful home. All around you can see her love of her animals, the birds, the porcelain dogs, and of course this piece she truly treasured because this was a gift from Rock Hudson, a dear friend of Doris for 25 years. He brought this to Doris from Africa, and you can see the elephants and look at the detail. It's truly amazing. This is a planter and it's so amazing. Pride of place by her fireside, and I think that will be one of the really highlights of the auction. Doris Day and Rock Hudson were true friends. They obviously worked together as well. Of course, Pillow Talk was that famous movie. They became really good friends. Rock Hudson himself said that he used to listen to Doris Day singing Sentimental Journey before he even got to know her. And then for 25 years, they were best friends, and what a sentimental journey, but what a fun journey they had. She loved him truly and had so much fun together. And anything from Rock Hudson and Doris Day that's in this auction will be highly sought after. And again, everywhere I walk throughout the home, you see her love affairs with the animals. She said she was going to do everything she could for the animals. And certainly everything in the auction is going to benefit her Animal Foundation, even her passport and her driver's license. And collectors love items like that. They're very, very personal. Something that would have been with Doris Day every single day. And these are some of the spectacular views that Doris Day enjoyed every day of her life, overlooking Quail Lodge Golf Course. As she sat here and played her piano, her red piano, but this was a special piano gifted to her by her son Terry. He was a great musician, a producer, very famous in his own right. And we have a beautiful red piano that was Terry's that he would gift it to his mother. This is something that truly was important to Doris, and that's part of the household items here, and I know it's something that Doris truly cherished. There's great artwork in the sale. I'm standing in Doris Day's bedroom. Of course, the first thing that comes to mind is Pillow Talk, that famous movie with Rock Hudson, her dear friend. But over Doris's bed hung this beautiful painting, very well-renowned artist, and that of course will be in the sale. But there's a lot of artwork in this sale, including this painting by Tony Bennett. And of course, Tony Bennett is a great artist in his own right, and there's a beautiful painting from Tony Bennett gifted to Doris Day, signed by his official name, Benedetto. Again, when you think about Doris Day, the amazing life and career that she had, going back to 1959 when this bowl was presented to her, the Allied Award, which of course reflects that she was the top-selling artist of all time in 1959. I'm walking along the corridor, the beautiful glass foyer from Doris Day's bedroom to her living room. You can see all this beautiful red wickerwork that's reflected throughout the house. She loved wickerwork. But look at all of the glass here. Natural light, in touch with nature, all the plants, overlooking Quail Lodge Golf Course. This was a truly fantastic, beautiful home that Doris Day spent the latter days of her life. And all the treasures you see are going on the auction block, Julien's Auctions, Beverly Hills, April 4th. And if you can't be in Beverly Hills, you can go to julienslive.com. You can click those buttons, you'll see and hear the auctioneer. You can bid and win and take home something from Doris Day's. And here we are at Julien's Auctions in Beverly Hills, not far from where Doris Day used to live. And I'm really excited to welcome you in to the exhibition, a virtual tour of the exhibition for the estate of Doris Day. And you're going to see some really cool, amazing items representing an extraordinary, long, full life that Doris Day lived. Final years in Carmel by the Sea, many items from the Doris Day show, many items from her various movies, and just cool items that she lived with on a daily basis. So come on inside, I'm really excited to show you this exhibition. And I am Martin Nolan here at Julien's Auctions in Beverly Hills. And you may have seen the video we created when I walked through Doris Day's home, showcasing all the items that will be coming to the auction block. And here we are, several months later, after a lot of work, labor of love. We are here at the exhibition. We have created this amazing catalogue documenting all the items going on the auction block here at Julien's Auctions, April 4th and 5th. And of course, because of the circumstances, the situation with the virus crisis, this will be an online auction. It will be a live auctioneer calling the bids, but you can bid from the comfort of your home. And I've created this video for you because I promised that we would do an amazing exhibition to showcase how Doris Day lived, the amazing items she surrounded herself by, and also to give you a sense of who the person was. And I look here at this amazing poster of Doris as a young girl, keeping in mind, this poster actually was used in the Doris Day show in 1971, CBS, and it was about how she got her beginnings. And you can see in this photograph, she's smiling, and I think she spent her entire life smiling, and that's what she wanted to do. She believed if she smiled, that she made you smile as well. And certainly here at this exhibition at Julien's Auctions, we want to honor Doris's legacy. We want to make you smile. Take a trip down memory lane and see some of the really cool, nice items, the beautiful furnishings, the decor, table settings, etc., that she lived with. She created a beautiful life for herself. And we're here in Beverly Hills, which is amazing because Doris herself, you know, when she moved from Cincinnati, Ohio to Beverly Hills, she lived here. She used to cycle down from the hills to Nathan Al's, which is around the corner from here. So these items, in a sense, have come back home, and then they're going to be dispersed all over the world after the auction here on April 4th and 5th. Of course, Doris Day, an amazing lady, she's a fantastic musician. She such a great voice. She gave us so much song, but also amazing movies. You know, she said about Calamity Jane, 1953, which we all, you know, we love that movie. She did too, and she said that Calamity Jane was who she was. She really felt that the character in Calamity Jane was the true Doris Day. Of course, in the 80s, she went back to live in Carmel by the sea, where she lived in a beautiful home surrounded by her animals, her beautiful gardens. She was in touch with nature. She lived a very private life. Sadly, she passed away in May of last year, just before, prior to her 98th birthday, which of course is coming up April 3rd. Doris Day, of course, was born April 3rd, 1922. This would be her 98th birthday, and because we can't, you know, share that with Doris herself, we have an opportunity to be a part of this historic event and bid in the auction and take home something, some little memento representing an amazing life and career. Yeah, of course, Doris Day gave us so much music, so many great movies, all those movies with Rock Hudson. You think of Pillow Talk, and it just makes you smile, and that's what Doris wanted to do. Of course, right here in this beautiful ivory two-piece outfit with matching purse, Doris Day wore this to the Beverly Hilton Hotel, not far from where I'm standing, 1989, when she was honored with the Cecil B. DeMille Golden Globe Award, which is right here. This is a really special piece, a great honor for Doris Day. Here in the catalog, you can see photograph of Doris, 1989, and there she is after being at the Beverly Hilton accepting her honorary Golden Globe Award, which of course was a perfect tribute to an amazing actress that brought us so much joy, so much fun in our lives, and continues to do so. You know, sadly she's not with us, but we have all of these great items, the awards, the exquisite Valentino gown that she wore, furnishings from her home, some of the furnishings that were on her set from the Doris Day show and the very show she did in the 70s and 80s, of course. And the great thing about this, as we all know, Doris loved her animals. That's what she lived for, and all of the proceeds of this auction will go to benefit the Doris Day Animal Foundation. And I remember when I walked through Doris Day's home on the balcony overlooking Quail Lodge Golf Course, I found one of my favorite pieces in the auction, and this was, of course, is the red lacquer piano gifted by Terry Melcher, of course, Doris Day's only son, to Doris. And I think about Doris sitting here on this stool, playing the piano, overlooking those beautiful views and creating amazing music that she gave to the whole world. This is one of my favorite pieces in the auction. And you know, as I'm standing here, this coat costume, this red coat costume, was worn in the Doris Day show from somewhere in the late 60s to the early 1970s. So again, this is a great piece. And you look behind the giraffe and the various plush animals. She loved animals, so she surrounded herself with obviously numerous dogs and cats, but also she just was reminded everywhere you walked throughout her house, you saw animals, paintings of animals, etc., to remind you of her love of animals. And you know, here Doris surrounded herself with beautiful items. The name of her home in Carmel was Overlook, and here's the sign outside her home, Overlook, which is in Carmel, or Carmel by the Sea. Beautiful home that she created for herself and for her animals. And then you look around, just simple things like the milk cans, sort of a reminder of the humble beginnings from Cincinnati, Ohio, to the limelight of Hollywood and Beverly Hills, and then to a simple, loving, natural life in Carmel by the Sea. You know, Doris Day, she lived a full, long life. She surrounded herself with beautiful items, great artwork. And you know, the interesting thing about Doris is she wasn't an elitist when it came to her artwork. She just loved art, and if she saw a piece of art that she loved, she would acquire it. And of course, she received many gifts from her loyal fans, fan art as well. And this is a good example here. This painting, which was in her bedroom, which I talked about when I walked through her home. But this is from Tony Bennett. And of course, he has a sign Benedetto, which is, of course, his formal name. And again, this is just a nice reminder of the friendship between her and Tony Bennett. And again, her appreciation for, you know, simple things in life. Yeah, this is an amazing, it's a beautiful cocktail gown worn by Doris Day. Again, chocolate brown in color, just so elegant and in such great condition. And reminds us like of the beautiful life and the beautiful lifestyle that Doris Day lived, even though she was just as happy with her gardens and with her animals. She also had beautiful jewelry, as you'll see throughout the exhibition. And this is one of my, you know, really favorite pieces as well, because it's a charm bracelet from Doris Day. And you can see all different animals here on the charm bracelet, like little poodles, and they have little pearls and rubies, etc. It's really nice. And then her mother, Alma, this is her mother's charm bracelet again, just a beautiful piece of 14-karat gold jewelry. And this is a really cool piece, Mickey Benoff. It's a patented bronze statue, mother and child, and you know, that was prominently displayed in Doris's home, and you know, you have to think that it reminded of her son Terry, and there was such a close bond to them for his entire life. And sadly, he predeceased Doris in 2003, and we know that had to be such a heartbreak for Doris, but she continued on living life, living with her animals, enjoying life to the full. And this cool jacket costume actually comes from With Six You Get Egg Roll, which of course, as we all know, was Doris Day's favorite movie of all time that she acted in. And again, it's in really great condition given its age. And wow, if this could talk, the stories it could tell. You know, right here was Doris Day's, one of her most favorite paintings, and it's Summer Forest by Edward Smith. And again, it's just a beautiful, simple, nice scene. And she just loved this. It's so tranquil and peaceful. And in fact, it's not too unlike the gardens at her home in Carmel, where she spent the latter years of her life. And as I look at this display case, I can see, you know, many items that would sort of remind me of Calamity Jane, and sort of reminds us, like, she loved the character Calamity Jane, and she believed that, you know, that most character Calamity Jane most resembled who the real Doris Day was. These Western boots, in fact, Doris Day wore these on the Doris Day show. She also loved her hats. So you will see many, many hats and various boots throughout the entire sale as well. There's almost 1,200 lots going on the auction block, April 4th and 5th, and people can go to julianslive.com. They'll be able to see and hear the auctioneer. They can click those buttons, bid, and take home some of these really cool, amazing treasures from the life and career of Doris Day. You know, as I stand at this display case, I'm reminded of the love that Doris had for her animals. And all these plates have photographs of dogs and cats or any sort of momentum. Everything's revolved around animals. And these are all really affordable items that people who just want to be a part of this historic event can bid and own and take home something, even a plate with a cat on it. How cool is that? Or this ashtray, which is one of my favorites, Bergen's here in Los Angeles, a famous haunt. They make a great Irish whiskey, and that's really cool to see this as part of Doris Day's collection. And so the auction will take place on April 4th and 5th. And when you go to julianslive.com, you register for the auction, you'll be able to see the auctioneer standing where I'm standing. You can click buttons and you can bid against people bidding by phone or on the computers anywhere in the world. And hopefully you can take home something good when the gavel goes down. And hopefully you've won something from the life and career of Doris Day. And here I am again, just all the animals that are represented here, the birds, the turtle. Look at this, the porcelain basket with the cats inside. I mean, something like that estimated $100 to $200. These are affordable items. This stagecoach is associated with Calamity Jane, of course, that famous movie from Doris Day. And, you know, all of these things, you know, just the items that she lived with. And I remember when I walked through her home, over her bed hung this painting by Suzanne Eisendeck. And, you know, it's a really beautiful painting. And this also was in the second series of the Doris Day show. So this is really cool. If you watch the DVDs of the show, you'll actually see this. And many of the furnishings on the set, because Doris used to design the set herself because she wanted to make it feel homely. And then after the show wrapped, she brought these items to her home in Carmel, where she continued to enjoy these items for the rest of her life. And now we have an opportunity to pass these items all over the world, coming to your home, hopefully, and you can keep the memory alive and just smile every time you see something from this auction representing Doris Day. I know it'll bring you happiness, and I think that is what Doris would want. And again, you know, very simple, nice things that Doris surrounded herself are going on the auction block, including this painting by James S. Wright. You see her Doris here with, of course, her beloved dogs. She's wearing this beautiful sort of a frog brooch by Kenneth Lane. And here we have the actual brooch, which is, of course, lot number 5 in the auction. And also we have a similar pink blouse that you can see in the painting that is here, and that's also in the auction block. Are all of these cool items that you can see here. This is the 12 Days of Christmas, these spoons, sort of a very simple, really nice item, and sort of quite unique as well. Of course, there's beautiful jewelry in the auction as well. There's lots of good jewelry, but there's also costume jewelry. Doris wasn't afraid to wear costume jewelry, and there's some really nice pearls here, as you can see, and the locket necklaces is a really cool piece as well. And these shoes are very likely, these bronze baby shoes, very likely from her son Terry. Of course, they were business partners, best friends, and he was her only son. This is a nice painting. It's an original painting, and it's of her dog, Biggest. You can see here, Biggest. And Biggest was Doris's favorite dog of all time. You know, another painting of dogs reminding Doris and all of her love for animals. Doris also loved to cycle. And when she lived here in Beverly Hills, she would be forever cycling around Beverly Hills, cycling to Nathan Al's Delicatessen, very close to here. And then she had this stationary bicycle, which would have been often used by Doris in her beautiful home in Carmel. And we have some really beautiful pieces of jewelry, 14-karat gold, from Doris Day, including this money clip, which was a gift to Doris's third husband, Martin Melcher. and 14 karat gold bracelets, just nice, charming pieces of jewelry. And again, a great range of different unusual pieces of jewelry. This Nettie Rosenstein rose brooch is beautiful. This is a beautiful brooch as well. And one of her favorite pieces that she wore many, many times on lots of photographs is this silver dog pendant, worn on numerous occasions. And there's lots of photographs of Doris wearing this particular piece. And again, just speaks to her love of her dogs. I'm sitting here on Doris Day's furniture at the exhibition here at Julien's Auctions, just like as if I was sitting in her home in Carmel, surrounded by beautiful furnishings, and this particular clock, which of course was used on the Doris Day show. And we have lots of wicker furniture in the auction, including some of the wicker that was used in the Doris Day show. And of course, this console table was also on the show with Doris Day. I'm standing right here at Doris Day's iron breakfast table and chairs, so cool, with this beautiful vase. It was a gift from her dear friend Paul McCartney. And of course, Doris was very friendly with Paul and also with his daughter Stella. And this is a really cool piece to own, something that was gifted from Paul McCartney to Doris Day, to your home. Yeah, and these are really cool as well. I saw these when I walked through the house of Doris Day in Carmel. And these two bar stools, they're like swivel bar stools, really cool. I can't think of a better way in the evening to sit there, look at the skyline over Carmel, have a nice cocktail on that chair and be able to swivel and have good conversation and good cheer. And this is a really nice roll top desk that Doris would have probably said and wrote to many of her fans who wrote to her, because Doris always replied to any fan mail she received. This actual roll top desk was used on the Doris Day show. And of course, this Windsor chair was also on the show with Doris Day. This is another really cool, it's a garden seat and it's a turtle. And that's sort of really an interesting piece. And Doris had loved her little trinket boxes, and there's some really beautiful ones here. You see the Tiffany glass one and the Tiffany blue one in the front, this particular blue one. But one of her favorites, she had some very sentimental attachment to this particular trinket box. And if you were in her home and you were anywhere near the box, you were always reminded to be careful of this particular one. So again, something that was very near and dear to Doris's heart. You know, when you think about Doris Day and such an amazing career she had, starting off with music and with the great songs she gave us, and then her brilliant acting in all those great movies. And this is represented with the amount of awards that you can see here. All different countries, like from Chile. So she won fashion awards because Doris was a style icon. She won 4 Golden Globes. She was nominated for an Oscar. I mean, this is a great representation of the legend that she was and all of the awards she won year after year after year, because she was so famous. She was one of the biggest box office earners from the late 50s through the 60s. I mean, she was incredibly prolific with all of those great movies, especially the movies she did with Rock Hudson. And of course, you know, I remember being in Doris Day's dining room, and this is her beautiful dining room table. It's King Louis XV table and chairs, beautifully upholstered. And you know, and I think about this, and you think of all the great meals and good wine and good conversation and perhaps good music that was discussed and talked about and created sitting at this table in Doris Day's beautiful home. Yeah, here behind me, this wardrobe cabinet was of course in the Doris Day show. Doris Day's Bible was very important to her. Passports, you know, when people come to bid in the auction, People love to own passports because it tells a lot about the person, where they traveled. It's something that Doris Day would have held closely as she traveled. So people would love to own passports. We also have some credit cards, which of course are no longer usable, but still a great momentum of Doris Day. Her driver's license as well, a cool item to own. She was a fashion icon and she always wore beautiful sunglasses, and you can see we have a great range of various types of large sunglasses that Doris Day used to love to wear. And again, sunglasses are highly collectible and people love to own a pair of sunglasses owned by a celebrity. This particular leather cosmetic case is also a really cool piece to have when you think of, you know, Doris traveling, and that makeup case probably traveling with her, maybe used in some of her movies. Purses, pocketbooks, handbags. People love to own something owned by a celebrity, especially if they are vintage. And this beautiful white beaded clutch purse actually was used by Doris on the Doris Day show. Louis Vuitton, people love to collect Louis Vuitton. There's a great piece coming from Doris Day. And then just other vintage purses. There's quite an range of various purses throughout the sale, and I think they'll be very sought after. And again, something very personal to anybody is their perfume, and fans and collectors love to own perfumes owned by celebrities. Of course, you think of Marilyn Monroe and Chanel No. 5. Here you have quite a range of really nice, beautiful perfumes. Doulton, Fendi, all of the great perfumes are here. Beautiful perfume bottles as well. What a great piece to own, a great conversation piece, and just put a little spray on and you're already smiling and thinking about Doris Day. I think we have wicker in this auction in every color, and this particular pink range of wicker work was used on the Doris Day show. So people who are watching Doris Day, we have a lot of time these days to catch up on all of these old TV shows and movies. You'll see this pink wicker work on the set. And this is a sort of a nice, cool, unique piece coming from Doris Day, and it's a burl wood sculpture of a swan, just elegant and very simple. Lots of beautiful items in the home that Doris Day lived with, and this particular range of Waterford crystal, it's the Curramore pattern, and this is exquisite. And again, you think about all the enjoyment that Doris would have had with this beautiful crystal on her dining room table in her beautiful home in Carmel. And this Doris Day hall chair was used on the Doris Day show. And here again, a good collection of brooms, because Doris Day just loved to sweep. I guess a new broom sweeps clean, and that was her motto. And again, these are just very simple porcelain items that Doris had throughout her home. I like these windmills, they're very cool. This blue and white porcelain basket, the teapot, just very simple but beautiful things, and that's what Doris surrounded herself with. And this beautiful two-piece ivory outfit was worn by Doris Day on the Doris Mary Ann Kappelhoff special 1971, and it's just exquisite. And this is her first foray really into TV shows. And I believe she sang It's Magic, and also she may have sang Sentimental Journey, which of course was one of her earliest songs. And in fact, Rock Hudson used to enjoy listening to Sentimental Journey long before he ever got to work with Doris Day, and eventually become really best friends. And again, lots of reminders of Doris's love for animals. And this desk here, it's a vintage desk, which of course was another gift from her son, Terry Melcher. And this is a really cool piece because it's a box which is signed for Doris Day on her birthday, and it's from Stella McCartney, and much love from her dad, Paul McCartney. So that's really great to have. And of course, Stella McCartney is a very famous designer in her own right. And these are the beautiful silk pajamas, Stella McCartney label. So this is a really cool piece to have in the auction. Yeah, this is a really, it's a vintage piece. It's a great story behind this, because this, in fact, came from Doris Day's grandfather's bakery shop in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Doris, as a young girl, would work there, help out by stacking loaves of bread on this baker's. It's an iron shelving. And then she brought it to her various homes. She always kept it with her. It reminded her of where she came from. And in fact, she used it in her home for her sweaters. And this is a really nice piece. It's an Hermes scarf owned by Doris Day. So very collectible in its own right. And again, this beautiful piece of furniture was also used on the Doris Day show. And this painting had to be one of Doris's favourite portraits of herself by Sign Starkman here in the lower right. Just a beautiful smiling image of Doris Day. She had this in her home in Beverly Hills, and then she brought it with her to her living room in her beautiful home in Carmel. Again, this beautiful oak table is in the sale. This is one of my favourite pieces. This is this really heavy jardiniere of elephants, and Doris had this on her fireplace in her living room in her home in Carmel, and it was a gift from her dear friend Rock Hudson. Of course, Doris did a movie with an elephant. She told Rock Hudson that she loved elephants, and when he was in Africa he hauled this back to Doris. That really speaks to their close friendship. And again, it's just a really beautiful piece in its own right. It speaks to her love of animals. It's a gift from Rock Hudson, and I think it's something that will be very sought after in the auction. And here is a beautiful painting by Roland Harvey of daisies, and this was on the Doris Day show many times, and then Doris brought it to her home in Carmel, where it's hung for more than 40 years. These lamps were also on the Doris Day show. And of course, when you look at this beautiful painting of the daisies, you're reminded of her famous movie, Please Don't Eat the Daisies. And in fact, Doris has that 8mm reel in a canister here in this case. She saw these pieces as art forms really, and had them throughout her home in Carmel. And of course, her collectible walking canes, more of her brooms, because that was her thing. She loved to sweep. And again, this is just an amazing auction. You see really an amazing array of fantastic fashion. This particular blouse from the 60s, it's an Oscar de la Renta. It's a vintage piece in its own right. And here it is coming from Doris Day's collection, these beautiful ivory pants as well. Everything you see here is going on the auction block. Julien's Auctions, April 4th and 5th. And this has been a real pleasure for us and our entire team at Julien's Auctions. It was a labor of love to work with so many amazing treasures, representing a real lady, an icon, a true celebrity, a lady who really loved her animals, and all of the proceeds of the auction will go to benefit the Doris Day Animal Foundation. So thank you for joining us on this special tour of the exhibition. It's a virtual tour. We wish you could have been here to see these items in person. Sadly, given the situation we live in today, we could not have this exhibition open, but we're happy to produce this virtual video so you get a real sense of Doris Day, the items she lived with, and give you an opportunity now on April 4th and 5th to go to juliensauctions.com or julienslive.com. You can see and hear the auction here, click those buttons, bid, and take home a memento, a treasure, something that you might cherish for many years to come.